The very first thing I want to do is really thank this community. I always said there'd be times when I would make mistakes or forget names or not do as much as I would needed to, and that hopefully with 20 years neighbors would get to know me, and when I did something wrong they'd go, well, her heart's in the right place. I know she's doing the right thing. Let's stick with her and give her another chance. For me, living on the Olympic Peninsula has its roots in the tribal traditions of potlatching. Living in a place that grows food year-round. When the tide was out, the table was set. Third-generation families with roads named after them. I always tried to tell our volunteers when we started a program, imagine a place with so much abundance and generosity that a person's status in the community was known by how much they gave away at a potlatch. And I want this community to know I gave them everything I could. And that was why it was time to leave, to stay in the community and to live here, but to let Extension be the enormous resource and asset it is in this community. It's not about me or one person or one generation. WSU has been here since 1914, making a difference in real people's lives with hands-on education. And I was very proud to be part of it, and I'm very proud to leave this legacy in this community for another generation to manage. I'm leaving WSU with one of the strongest staffs it's had since its inception in the 1914s, 1920s. This community doesn't know what an asset WSU Extension is. We're always so busy we don't remind you. This is a large land-grant research university right here in a small rural community. When Port Townsend wants a college, the county out in Jefferson County has 5 universities that have provided PhD, master's, and bachelor's programs to over 340 students. It's fully my plan to continue to be a neighbor and a volunteer and engaged in this community. Over the last 20 years, I've put really deep roots into Jefferson County. But I'm also leaving knowing that there is the strongest staff that has ever been at WSU Jefferson County in place right now. Pam Roberts, the new director of WSU Jefferson County, has grown 4-H from 82 students to over 1,500 young people learning how to make the best better, with 200 trained parent adults working with kids. Pat Pearson, our water quality and natural resource agent, is known regionally and nationally of bringing people together to protect our water resources, our watersheds, and our natural resources. She's assisted by Darcy McNamara, a wonderful strategic planning and volunteer manager, and Linda Smith, who's bringing together a nationally recognized watershed curriculum that will be published by WSU and 4 other land-grant universities. In addition to 4-H and water quality and natural resources, WSU is going to continue to be a leader in the food and farm industry. We're going to continue to grow the local economy with Team Jefferson. We're going to provide community leadership, noxious weed control with Eve Dixon, and the wonderful staff of Sally Chapin and Lori Mayer. These are intelligent, dedicated people working with parents, community leaders, AmeriCorps, youth to make a difference every day in this community. Jefferson County has a unique opportunity. It's a strong sense of place, good capital and social networking with volunteers and long-term residents of this community. And the real challenge is how do we draw all that together in the new economy. Team Jefferson uses the same model as so many other extension programs, but it's the first in the nation to really address economic development in rural communities. With over 15 retired business executives led by Bill Wise, Shelby Smith, Peter Quinn, Craig Weir, these folks spend 10-15 hours a week working one-on-one with local businesses, developing ways to increase access to local capital through Lion, Local 2020, and investments in our local farms and land works. It has embraced and put on this community's agenda how do we train and welcome a new generation of entrepreneurs. Small businesses, innovation, entrepreneurship, all those have been techniques that Extension has used, whether it's in youth programs, food and farm, noxious weeds, or natural resources. But today, Jefferson County and WSU Team Jefferson are leaders in bringing people together to help us address the new economy. I'm excited to be part of that, and I plan to continue to be involved. I think whenever we have these transitions in our life, we think, how did we get here and where are we going? For me, it started in Big Timber, Montana, the daughter of a cowboy, the granddaughter of a man from Quebec, Canada, the eldest of 13 children with 13 children, who was actually sold as an indentured farmer right before World War I to avoid World War I service for Canada. I have always been looking for that family, that community, and that farm. I remember looking at my resume once and saying, oh my God, I change jobs every 3 years. I don't know what I want to do when I grow up. And a friend said, oh no, it's the same job. Whether it was in Alaska or it's in Jefferson County, whether it was in Washington, D.C., or it was in Squim Bay, it was about pulling people together, asking them to be bigger than we think we can be, asking them to be not part of the problem but be part of the answer, and engage them in the problem solving. So somehow out of this 40 years of public service there has been a theme. Whether it was working with Inuits and natives in Alaska, or doing the watershed planning, or doing community leadership or economic development, it's always been about learning something new, taking an enemy to lunch and figuring out what we had in common, challenging us to make it better, leaving a legacy. And that isn't just about at WSU, that's about who I am as a person. And one of my role models is Meg Christian. She's the first Afro-American woman astronaut. And when she was stepping down after going to space 3 times, the African-American community came to her and said, Meg, you don't realize how much we need you there. And she said, you know what? I loved being an astronaut, but this little girl had other dreams. And I have to remember, I loved WSU, but I had a career before it, and I'm looking to having a way to make a difference after it. And I think each of us has to find our path, and I'm excited about the future, and I want to thank everybody who has wished me so well, and we're going to have fun together. Thanks.